So we're once again returning to Berserk, the dark fantasy action horror masterpiece by Kentaro Miura, now helmed by his longtime friend Koji Mori and Studio Gaga. The last we left off, the situation was dire, extremely so. What was left of the refugees from Elfhelm and our party were attacked at sea by the Kushan Empire, the enemy nation that once tried to invade Midland and conquer the land. But we saw signs that not everything was as it seems. There was the presence of the Baki Raka, an elite assassin unit that sought sanctuary in an old stronghold far away from the rest of the world. Not only that, but we saw Rickert with the pirates as well, Guts' longtime friend and fellow comrade from the Band of the Hawk. Right away, it was clear that this was more than just a simple raid and loot mission. Regardless, everyone on board was chained up. Even Guts was captured, still pacified by his mental breakdown, with the Beast of Darkness edging him on the whole time. Shrike is unable to help as she astrally projected herself into the branches of the World Tree in order to track down Casca, and the rest of the Elfhelm mages are helpless, as the loss of the island means they have no magic to wield anymore. This began what is known as the Eastern Exile Arc, where we can assume there will be a deeper dive into Kushan culture, what happened with Rickert, Erika, and the rest of the Baki Raka once they escape Falconia, and also build up to the final battle. Things are getting wild, they're getting crazy, and you might want to hold on tight, because it might even go a bit bananas. Regardless, we have the new chapter to talk about, Chapter 375, which picks up right where we left off. Before we get started, I highly recommend you all sit down and read it for yourselves. It's already been scanned and translated, so it's easy to pick up, and if you can actually read Japanese, then buy Young Animal, because Berserk needs money. A lot of money. Buy everything Berserk related, I'm begging you. So I wasn't kidding when I said the chapter picks up right where we left off. We're right back to the Kushans boarding the Seahorse, only this time it's from Salat's perspective. As it turns out, Salat and his men are communicating with Master Daiba, who gave them a prophecy of a beast bound in chains arriving in the haze of a white mist, on a night where the moon looks like a drawn bow. Salat is impressed that the ship seems to match the prophecy to a T, but he doesn't really know what it means. The ship could belong to Griffith. It's a western ship, and the only kingdom left standing is Falconia. As far as the Baki Raka are aware, it could be a scouting ship to ready for a full-scale invasion, but that doesn't sound quite right. For one, Falconia is many leagues away from where they're at. It would be a stretch to think Griffith is already spread that far out. The easiest explanation is that the refugees fleeing the monsters. The idea makes Salat find the idea of violently boarding the vessel a tad overdramatic, but Daiba, who is revealed to be flying above on his pterodactyl friend, says that they've already ensnared something he would like to see personally, but the soldiers are already bringing everyone to the top deck, and a particular group of Kushans are dragging something out, something chained from head to toe. As Serpico, Puck, and Isidro watch in complete bewilderment, Guts is marched out, completely passive and not even attempting to fight back. Everyone is in shock at the sight. Out of all the people in the world, they were certain Guts would be the one causing the Kushans the most trouble, but he's just standing there, utterly silent, until one of the Kushans yanks on the chain on his foot and sends him to the ground. Isidro in particular is horrified at the scene. Guts is his hero in more ways than one. The man was a titan of strength, someone who simply never stopped fighting. But now, here he was being pushed around by complete jobbers. Everyone in the party can barely watch, and Isidro calls out to Guts, asking him just what the hell is he doing. He's supposed to get up and fight, to do something that would save them all. It's what he always did. This isn't him. A Kushan soldier interrupts his speech by slamming his head against the railing, but he's quick to keep talking, still screaming even as the soldiers drag the Dragon Slayer on the top deck as well. Isidro's words don't seem like they're completely useless. Guts is still visibly struggling with what's going on in his head, but all Isidro sees is him flat on the floor. So the boy breaks down in tears, calling Guts a bastard and a dumbass. The Kushan who slammed his head is keeping him firm against the floor as well. Serpico wants to say something to him, but then Rickert walks to the forefront. Serpico and Roderick recognize that someone is speaking their language, perking up as Rickert tells the rest of the pirates to make way. All the while, we see Puck looking down at Guts, still silent but just sort of watching him. This is something I think is noteworthy, but I'll explain towards the end. For now, we get to see Rickert finally see Guts again, astonished that he managed to run into him after so much time has passed and they're on the complete other side of the world. But even the presence of Rickert isn't enough to break the man out of his state. Roderick immediately asks who he is, since this kid's able to recognize Guts, and he's, frankly, not Kushan, but he doesn't respond, instead saying something to the rest of the Kushans. They take out their knives, and cut everyone free. Rickert gave them all a stand-down order. He says that the Empire is on edge due to recent events, and he apologizes for how they were treated. Here we see Rickert officially introduce himself to the party. He was certain he would never see anyone from Midland or anyone that could speak his language ever again, but then suddenly, their ship just appeared in Kushan waters. Because of that, they have to seize the vessel, but tensions are noticeably less strained. It's not a great situation, but compared to what everyone's already been through, there are certainly worse possibilities out there. Daiba and Salat are still watching over the situation, just as amazed that they found Guts again after all this time. Salat only now realizing the prophecy was about this encounter. Of course, if the Prana of Durga were to awaken, it wouldn't really matter how many soldiers they sent in, but that's negative thinking. We're all about good vibes here. Also, a note about the Prana of Durga. I didn't really know what this meant when it was first mentioned in the Millennium Falcon War arc. I assumed it was just some fancy-sounding words or weird Kushan way of saying the Berserker armor. Turns out, it's actually a reference to Hindu mythology. Prana means life energy or skin, and Durga is a Hindu goddess, a motherly figure that protected mankind and gave them strength, but is also associated with war and destruction. So when they say the Prana of Durga in reference to the Berserker armor, they're saying that Guts is wearing the skin of an ancient Hindu god of war, which is pretty fucking metal, not even gonna lie. That aside, Daiba plans to meet everyone back at the capital. Salat left impressed by the old man and his schemes, able to lead them directly to the greatest assets they could have in fighting off Griffith's army. The only question is Guts, as he always winds up being the wild card. There's just no telling what's going to happen with him. Rickert sits next to Guts, who's joined at the side by Shrike, still unconscious from the ritual, their respective elves staying close by. And the chapter ends with the ships arriving at the Kushan capital, once again leaving us on a cliffhanger for what's in store next. So that's chapter 375. A pretty damn good one, if I had to say. Getting the official reunion of Rickert and Guts is just awesome, and knowing that this was all a scheme by Daiba so everyone can meet opens things up immensely, because now there's not only Griffith's schemes to think about, but now the Kushans as well. Griffith saying they need to go east could very well be in reference to this very event, that Guts and the party will meet Daiba and the Bakiraka and manage to muster up a resistance against them. Because remember, the Bakiraka are more than capable fighters, they damn near killed Roxas. Things are building up rapidly and only going to get crazier. But the big thing I want to talk about is how Puck's been acting. Usually he's right at Isidro's side cracking jokes, becoming a sort of comedy duo with him ever since they met in Conviction, but now he's silent, just sort of a passive observer to what's going on. Hell, it's been a while since we've seen him in his chestnut Puck form. He's serious again, at least partially, and he knows something's going on with Guts. It's very possible that he's going to be the key to getting Guts out of the Beast of Darkness's grasp. Remember, that was his job before Shrike showed up. He had to stick with Guts and help him when he was at his worst. Now that she's off in Falconia trying to find Kalska, it's time for Puck to dust off the gloves. And he might actually be able to do a good job at it. Shrike's solution to fighting off the beast was to physically go into Guts' mind and yank him out of it. It wasn't really dealing with the beast, it was just slapping it down and giving Guts the chance to take control again. Puck might actually be able to help the guy. They've been together easily the longest out of everyone in the party. He's been with Guts since Black Swordsman and never once left the guy alone. Whether he likes it or not, Puck is Guts' closest friend at the moment. And elves, by their very nature, represent goodness in the world, positivity and joy. Sure, it's not like just sitting close to Guts will make the beast go away, definitely not. But I can absolutely see Puck at the very least helping Guts break out of its control. And they're gonna need him too, because the way things are going, it seems to be pointing towards full-scale war. An absolutely insane one, but we won't know until it happens. There's still a lot that we are unsure about. As stated, I believe this arc is going to be about fleshing out Kushan culture and kind of their day-to-day and what happened to them ever since the war and the death of Ganishka, so that'll be pretty dope. We also get to see what happened with Rickert and how he ingratiated himself into the Kushans and has probably since become a pretty major figure to them. I mean, he's leading a unit of soldiers. I'm also curious about how much exactly Daiba knows and what he's keeping close to his chest, because Daiba himself is also a sorcerer. So I imagine that with the new mages from Elfhelm no longer having their magic available, they're going to need to turn to Daiba to help, because Kushan magic is probably just as powerful because they use a different form. They don't need to worry about a world tree. But we won't know until any of this happens. For now, we just have the single chapter. It can be annoying waiting for new ones, but I still absolutely trust the road the story's going down. Koji Mori swears they're going off notes that Miura left behind, saying they're so extensive there might even be notes on what the final chapter is going to be. The series is in the hands of a good team, and I trust them with Berserk. A lot of the people have strong feelings, saying the series died with 364, since that was the last official one handled by Miura, and I understand that, but these chapters have been very enjoyable personally, and I prefer not tossing the baby out with the bathwater just because it's not handled by the man himself, since sadly that's just impossible now. Plus, they've really taken strides to improve the art. When they first started the solo chapters, it looked pretty wonky, but now it's almost downright exact to how Miura would have done it. I'm loving it personally. Regardless, I recommend everyone catch up to the manga soon. Mori swears that the way things are going, the manga will come to an end in about 10 years, give or take. So not much time to catch up. I'm gonna be halfway through my 30s when this damn thing is over. Still, this is all I have to say about the newest chapter. It's leading us into some pretty damn kino happenings. Until next time, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys.